Hi, my name is Jai, and always staying fly.
I thought you were gonna forget that part. I was about to say it for you.
Or wait a minute. Okay, you are vibing with Jai and riding with Tatiana. We are here with Pretty Girls Don't Speak, a podcast to just bring enlightenment, empowerment, and just what? Just dashing out those societal norms of what a woman should be. Yeah. And today we're talking about diminishing fear.
Diminishing fear, overcoming fear, looking past fear to reach your higher self, your goals. Fear is so enrooted in us, I think, from an early age that we don't even allow ourselves to, look past it sometimes. So I think it's really good that we discuss this topic to help you guys maybe get over some fear and anxieties that you're having yourselves.
Yeah. How to overcome it, how to push through it, and how to step into the highest version of yourself, right? Because sometimes fear can hold us back from opportunity. And I know along in my journey, fear has closed a lot of doors that were already open for me. Yeah. And from it being programmed in me at such a young age. I remember an instance where I used to every day I used to be a little kid with my little crew, and we used to jump off of buildings like at 7 6 7 years old, and I was ready and I'm like, yeah, I'm jumping down, woo, bam bam, every day, back to back to back to back. And one day I got on top of that building and I looked down and I was scared as I don't know what, right? And I was just crying for my dad. I was like, get me down from here. I don't know. And now that I got older, I realized that wait a minute, that was a programming. Like all the time I was unfearful to jump. But one day, all of a sudden, I was afraid to jump. And I knew that that was just a subconscious programming as us as kids, like either the music that we're listening to, either the TV shows that we're watching, when we're, the Candyman, watching all those scary movies like Chucky,
Chucky used to scare me. For
Scary.
Sure.
And that's a subconscious programming. And when you're a kid, you don't even want to turn the light off, right? Yeah. And those are the things and the traumas and the fears that were programmed in us that we actually grow up with and we have to overcome as adults,
For sure. And I think that the way that you're raised has a lot to do with that, because my mother is just such a fearful and anxious person. And she, raised us really well, but like she's so protective of us that, oh my God, be careful. Oh my God, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't go here. Don't go there. Don't get too close. And we just naturally now we're like, okay, well, we're not going to do that. However, I'm the rebel of my family. Like, I'm going to do whatever I want regardless. Yeah. But my fears are very much there in every step of my journey. And it's important to learn how to, get over it, but also to learn how fears can also help you on your journey. And I think that one way that they help you is they keep you safe. There's certain things that you should be scared of, like substance we've talked about. Yeah. When people rely on substances, or,
you should run the other way with that.
Doing some crazy like outdoor activity that you might actually get seriously hurt from, like some real stuff. And that in that case, fear is keeping you safe, fear is good. But when you are not allowing yourself to take a job opportunity, or you're not allowing yourself, to go out, be social, go to the gym because you're scared of judgment, hang out with people that might be good for you because you're scared, things like that, I think are, what's the word, like inhibiting?
Yeah, inhibiting.
And I think that that's just like where you as a person need to go out of your comfort zone. Yes. Because your comfort zone is a dangerous place.
Yeah. It could be a dangerous place for sure, for sure. When we get too comfortable, it becomes how can I say it? Like this, I don't know, how the kids wear the swimmies, kind of like, or
Yeah,
like bumper
floaties.
cars, like floaties, and it's like, yeah, you're floating, but are you swimming? Are you swimming towards those goals that you want to achieve? Are you really putting in the action and the effort to overcome those fears? And I like what you were saying about, you know, how we were raised, like, you know, our mom and our dad said this and don't do this. And, you know, we have people projecting their fears on us. I know even like in the workplace or people that I work around, there, I'm like, hey, yo, what do you think about this idea? You know, it's really inspirational. I think it'll be really cool. And then they're like, no, 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 don't do that because that's Illuminati and this and that. And it's just like, bruh. But, you know, I have to, and that's where it comes into where it's like really overcoming your fear, but knowing when to listen to your intuition, you know, because I know me as a woman, you know, a lot of times I went against my intuition, and it was because of either fear of judgment of what people would think about me, which I really had that bad, or just fear of the unknown. That's also like scary. Not taking the radical action needed because I didn't have enough confidence within myself. And I think fear is also ego based in some ways. What do you think?
I absolutely believe fear is ego based, especially when it's coming from, like you said, like people judging you. And I feel like that's something that will never go away. And we always say in this podcast, like a misconception about healing is that you're ever truly healed. And a misconception about fear is that once you overcome it, that it's not there anymore. And sometimes that is the case. Sometimes you'll be scared of something, then you're like, oh, I'm not scared anymore. You know, you face your fears. Like with bugs, if I were to like immersively put myself with a bug, you know, eventually like I might be cool with it. But that's not happening today. But there's like things like fear of judgment, you know, like you're out in society maybe doing something that, you know, is not quote unquote normal. And that's your own personal business, is to like be like, I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna move, you know, genuinely with the best, purest intentions. That way, even if people are judging me, I feel comfortable with my actions. Versus if you're doing something that you wouldn't normally do because you want to look good for other people and you're still being judged, you're gonna feel icky about it. You know, so I think that's like one way that fear just can like you can make your fears worse, you know, if you don't take the proper steps. So, like, what do you think is, like, maybe a step for, like, overcoming fear?
Is building your confidence. Because us as women, we hold so much power and so much value that along the way, through these fear-based mentalities and these projected fears, either from family members, outside sources, in the work area, and it really stifles our confidence. Like, you know, and our confidence has a lot to do with our voice, right? So when you're confident in yourself, you're able to voice things. And even when you're confident in yourself, being able to say an affirmation to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like voicing, like, you know what? I got this. You know what? I'm full of potential. You know what? I could do this. You know what? I was built for this. You know what I'm saying?
All weekend long, I was terrified, you guys. Like, I just had my going away party, and I was just around a big group of people that I don't usually kick it with. And, you know, we're all into different things. And I was scared of judgment, you know, from literally every single person, almost. Like, I was scared of judgment, but really I was judging myself. And there's that ego that you're talking about, and I'm putting, you know, so much value on people's opinions versus value into myself. And the way that I overcame that was having that confidence, knowing who I am as a person. So I might not be everything. I might not be the coolest person in the room. I might not be, you know, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, I know that I'm smart. You know, I know that I'm strong. I know that I'm beautiful. And those are the affirmations you need to tell yourself every day. And so, like, even in those situations where I wasn't comfortable, you know, I was still confident. Because comfortable and confident, you know, you don't need both.
Yeah, that's like a thin line barrier type thing. But, you know, so do you feel like what were you fearful of? Like, I want to know, like, what at your going away party, what made you uncomfortable and fearful? Was it the you felt like the people were like a lack of acceptance
so you know what,
to you,
Jai?
or
It's not the lack of acceptance. I know I'm loved and I know all of that stuff.
yeah,
This is a really great question because it's sometimes important to get real straight and vulnerable, with people that might not understand. Oh, what do you have to be scared of? Like you have whatever. And I was really worried because I'm a kind of person who's consistently let down by people. I'm, the kind of person that when it's somebody that I love, I try my best to show up for them. Though that might not be every single person, I do my best for the people I really love. And I feel like people I love in my past have like really let me down. And this kind of is stemmed from my childhood. This is a silly, silly story. But it really affected me as a child. Was one time my sister was in 5th grade and I was in kindergarten. We went to the same school. And I really looked up to my sister. And she came.
And that's a huge age gap too.
Yeah, was 5th grade and kindergarten.
You're really looking up to her,
and
literally.
Think about that. Kindergarten is the first time I had social interaction with children. I'm learning how to be rejected, how to be accepted. And it was a very like crazy time that I can remember where my sister came and she brought me like chips or something, and we're eating together and we're having the greatest time. She said, okay, I'm gonna try and come visit you at lunch. And then I'm like looking around and I just start bawling my eyes out because she never came. And all throughout class I'm crying, and I think I even got put on timeout because I was crying. The fact that I remember this is crazy because this was like 20 years ago, but it's just like that was the first time in my life I felt truly like let down. And it wasn't her fault, obviously, but like that was when I felt let down. And ever since then, I've had certain friends, like some friends very much show up for me, and those are the people you need to be grateful for and you need to like appreciate, because you can't be focused on the people that don't. But I had that fear in me that what if nobody shows up to my party? What if I throw this party and it's a flop? That was my fear. And I was like, all I can do is get my decorations, get my food, get a speaker, and whoever comes, even if it's 5 of my friends, like I told you, either if it's 5 or 40, it's going to be a great time. Right. But no matter what, even if it was just me and my best friend in there, it would have been a great time. And literally almost every single person I invited, including Jai, showed up. And it was the most banging party ever. This house really went out with a bang. Yes. And I'm just so grateful. But if I would have, played it safe, I went all out, like with the decorations, with the food, like with everything. We got a bunch of activities set up. And I went all out and I trusted the process. And whatever happened. And it ended up being literally insane. Everybody had the best time ever. Everyone. And so I feel like that was this instance where I was scared. Fear could have taken over, and I looked past it, dedicated myself, because I didn't have to get all the decorations. It could have been a flop. I could have just half-assed everything. But that's where it's important, is you can't half-ass anything that you want. True that. Anything that you want. You need to give it 100%.
1,000.
And everyone at that party was just believing in me and, really like uplifting me. And once you feel that, it's also motivation to just keep it pushing.
Yeah. So what do you think that we can tell the audience, like, hey, you know what, here, how can we overcome the fear of feeling like people can't show up in our lives? Because along in my journey, I had a lot of letdowns too, either from family, very intimate relationships. I've always felt let down. And I just want to kind of bring light to the audience, like, hey, how can we overcome the feeling of rejection, or the fear of rejection?
Truly, like, that's your own issue. That is your own issue, and people will always let you down. I will let people down, even if I don't actively try to. Who knows how much significance a single situation holds, or a single text that you didn't send, or whatever.
So there definitely has to be like a strong acceptance level, like a firmness.
You have to be okay with being let down, and you have to, like, this is how I feel about my own personal situation. I will carry myself as a good person. I will treat you well. I will treat somebody else well one-on-one, somebody else well one-on-one. And out of 10 people, if I treat 10 of them well, and only 3 of them let me down, that's pretty dang good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the fear of rejection is so much more than that. That's where you need to build that confidence within yourself. So acceptance of being rejected, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Just accept the fact it's going to happen.
Just know you don't reject yourself.
You don't, and that's where that confidence comes in. Where you know, I might have got rejected by this person, but I'm going to go and make it happen anyway.
Yeah.
And then another thing I think too is just, you know, really creating your circle. Because you don't have to be okay with the fact that you were let down. You can cut those people out of your life. And it doesn't have to be a severe cut, a blunt cut. It has to be like, or it can be a releasing of energy.
Yes.
Somebody that is draining your energy, the energy vampires like we talked about, you know, and I think that if we just allow those people to release from our lives, one, they're going to come running back. Everyone comes back, whether it's a friend, a relationship, whatever. Everyone, when they see that you were genuinely you, they're attracted to that energy because they don't necessarily have that, or they're attracted to that. And so I think that is another way, is just by creating your circle filled with people who you know won't let you down, who care about you enough. And that's what I think the party was just so like beautiful and impactful for, is everyone over the course of my lifetime here in this city was there in different ways, shapes, and forms, and everyone loved me, different versions of myself. They loved the alcoholic Tatiana at one point. They loved this version of me, you know, they loved childhood Tatiana, Winco Foods Tatiana, you know, like the bartender Tatiana. Everyone loves all these versions of me. I'm not going to be upset about the people that don't, you know? And there's one quote I want to share with you guys that somebody told me a long time ago, and I'll never forget it because it's so impactful, and I always remind myself this. You could be the biggest, juiciest, ripest peach on the tree, and someone's always going to hate peaches.
That's so true.
Someone's always, you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. And that we were talking about that too.
Yeah. And that's why I think community is so important. You know, especially, you know, a community with women, a community for kids, no matter what it is, it's a community that builds inspiration that actually, you know, diminishes the barrier of fear within you, because you see other people doing it. You're like, okay, yeah, all right. Because sometimes we need that encouragement, or just like that push forward to be like, hey, you know what, Tatiana, you're amazing. Like, you could do this. Or, hey, you know what, Jai, I see you. Like, hey, and just really being able to
be uplifted
through other people's positive actions. Like, that's really been a motivation for me. Another thing, overcoming fear, is, you know, if you really want to get down into it, you know, go out in the forest at night. You know, really sit in the dark real quick. That's just scary. Like
that's scary. That will help.
And really like connect. Like, nature has been such a bridge gap for me to just diminish fear. Like, I can't even tell you, just a simple, just having a walk in the park, or just a walk in the forest, or walking on the beach, or just sitting out by the river. You know, it really brought calmness and just brought me straight back to my 0 point, to really like, okay, I have to question yourself. Like, where is this fear coming from?
Yes.
Why am I feeling like
Identify
this?
It.
Is this uncomfortable? But for what? Like, get to the root of the issue so that you could bring it to the light and flourish, like, and overcome that fear and be the best version of yourself. Yeah.
I think that identifying the fear is very important, because sometimes you'll just be like, I don't know what's going on. I don't like this. I just got to remove myself from the situation, but that's
like,
not. Yeah, like,
what is this?
And that's one thing too, is like hanging out with people that I don't usually hang out with. That fear of rejection also can come from the fact that I don't drink anymore, and people make that a big deal. People
it's hard to get along with people when you know, feel out of place, like when we're at a party and people are drinking, like, hey, you're not going to drink? What? You're not going to smoke? I'm
sorry,
like,
I'm be the buzzkill today.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
And that's like, you know, you feel like you're letting people down, but it was important for me to identify that fear. Okay, it's from a fear of not fitting in. Really, that's a fear. And I've told people that before, is I've always felt different growing up from a young age, and I struggled with a lot internally that I didn't understand because I didn't know how to process my emotions. And now that I get older and I get more healing done, I realize that, you know, that fear comes from norms that were instilled in me from my culture too. You know, things that your family brings you up with. Don't do this, don't do that, it's bad. Or religion even, you know. I believe in God, very spiritual, love God. But, you know, it can make you, like, some people are very uncomfortable with intimacy because you're taught don't have sex. And it's not talked about. It's just don't do this, don't do that. And so if you do those things, it feels dirty or it feels like wrong. And that's like something you have to identify, because sometimes people will be like, well, what's wrong with me?
Yes.
You know, like, what's blah, blah, blah. And it's up to you to be like, where's this coming from? So, yeah, feeling different and feeling like you don't fit in, there might be some kind of self-exploration that needs to be done.
Yes, I agree. And switching your perception, you know, having an attitude of gratitude is a way to just overcome fear. Because I know even along on my journey, like in this present moment, sometimes I just be like, oh my gosh, I'm afraid. What if this goes this? The what ifs, right? And I always find myself like, well, what if this or what if that? And it's like, no, Jai, switch your perception. You're a positive being. You're bringing light and energy to the table and positivity. It's all good. Keep moving in love. Like, I love myself.
Keep moving in love.
Keep moving in love. Keep moving in love, because love is the most potent force in this reality, and it just diminishes fear completely. Like, if I learn to just understanding, just love and just forgiveness and just knowing and just becoming aware also, like, all right, I know I don't want to deal with that fear-based mentality right now. I'm going to keep that away from me, or I'm not going to feed into other people's fears. And it's just like what I was saying, like when I work with people, a lot of people are so in that fear frequency that it'll project on me so hard to the point where it's draining. Just draining.
Like, just shut up.
It's like, just shut up, man. Like, dang, like, can we just
don't bring that negativity over here?
Don't bring it over here. Because, you know, I don't like to be unsure of myself. And sometimes people are so deep rooted in it that it projects, and you're like, oh. And it's like, wait a minute, that's not me. Just stop it. Stop. And so that's why we have to be able to switch our perception enough to be like, you know what? I know my value. This is what I want. This is what I don't want. This is how I feel being over here. And this is how I do not need to feel being over here. And so switching that perception. I have
a hard question for you, Jack. I don't know if it's a hard question, but it's a hard hitter question for sure.
Okay.
So the way that you have transformed your look too, you know, from that of a like stereotypical what a woman looks like. Did you have fear in that like transition period, and how did you overcome that?
You know what? That's a really good question, Tatiana. And religion of what society of a woman was, of what a woman should be or dress like or anything like that, I was so boggled down with the judgment of others. Like, dang, oh, but I'm a woman. I'm supposed to dress with like tight fitted jeans, or, oh, I'm a woman. Like, I'm supposed to, go to the nail shop, or, oh, I'm a woman. Like, I'm supposed to be conservative and dress like this. And for me, it was so uncomfortable. So it felt like I was going against the grain of myself, right? And so for a long time, for years, I was extremely just depressed, anxiety ridden, and just how a man thinks that I should look. Like that was that was what I was going off of a man's mentality of how modest, or how a woman should wear high heels, or a woman is sexy is like this. And especially it's just like, even when I got into a great relationship, I actually pushed that away because of the fear-based projection that was onto me of what a woman should be. And in all actuality, a woman is creative, a woman is strong, a woman is nurturing, and I have all those values. So it took me a long time to realize, like, no, fuck this. Like, I am a woman. I'm standing firm. I'm creative. I'm nurturing. I bring value to the people around me. I bring love to the people around me. I use different outlets as art, as a feminine, and, my music is feminine, embodying nature, just me being out in nature. And I had to really be like, you know what? No, I'm a woman. I'm comfortable like this. People are going to love me for being the authentic self. And so for a very long time, I was battling with that because it was such a fear-based mentality that was projected on me, because I wanted to fit in the society norms of what a woman should be. Or, hey, no, you're a little bit too aggressive. Like, no, I'm just business minded. Like, I penetrate with my mind. Like, if that makes me aggressive or seems a little bit masculine, then so be it, because I had to learn to come and embody the feminine and masculine energies within me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And me and Jai always talk about, the balance of that, because sometimes you think that people will project those fears on you, like, oh, you're not a real woman. A real woman is this and this and this, or you need to be the most girliest girl and the most, like, clean looking, put together girl. And it's like, at the end of the day, we are women.
Yes.
We deserve to be valued for who we are.
Absolutely.
And the different dimensions of ourselves.
Yes.
There's so many dimensions to women, and you just, like, there's so many dimensions to men, but not all of them allow them to express that feminine side, because they're worried about being gay.
Yeah. Or they're worried about not crying because they look too like a bitch, a girl, or whatever.
Like they say.
Yeah.
And it's just, like, pissing me off, because you're a man, and a man's job, if we're going to talk societal norms, build me something.
A builder.
Like, mow the lawn or do something, provide. And a lot of times they don't want to uphold those societal norms, but then they put us in this box, and since it's a man's world, we're quick to be like, okay, and then you get a lot of pick-me's in this world. A lot of girls that want that acceptance, want that male validation that they probably need. And I think it's really important to, look at that situation, take fear out of it, and be like, I'm going to be myself. This is who I know I am. This is what I have to offer. You either get with it or you get out.
Yeah, period.
That's how I live my life. I was just telling Jai, like, if you don't respect me, that's the bare minimum. Like, you got to go. And I'm going to make it vocal that you need to respect me. I'm not going to be like, yo, you better respect me right now, like, or I'm going to do whatever. But it's like, I hold myself to a certain standard. Yes. You're going to have the same standard, or you're not going to have access to me.
And the reason why you're able to set those boundaries and be firm in that, like, hey, respect me, because I'm going to give you the same in return.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So it's not like I'm over here asking, like, oh, you better respect me, and I'm off doing the most, or, disrespecting you or your energy or your being in any type of way. Like, no, it's not even that. It's building a stable relationship, and all relationships are not romantic. There's just like there's relationships all around us. We even have relationship with nature. So we have to overcome our fears enough to be able to be aware of our sense of value, and to kind of just break through those society norms, like that masculine, the toxic masculine thinking. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, when you do overcome, it's the most beautiful thing. I swear. Like, overcoming my fear has helped me so much along in my journey, that it has brought so much love and awareness for even people just to even be around me, and just be like, you know what, we love you for you, because we can tell you're standing in your truth.
In your truth and who you are.
That's it.
There was a situation that happened just the other day, and you know, to not give too many details, somebody messaged me saying that my housemate, like, was doing some crazy stuff, and I was just like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I don't condone that at all, and then, like, I was like, here, y'all hash it out, y'all hash it out. And then when I actually sat down and looked at what I did, I was scared, because I was like, my housemate is literally like my brother, literally like a family member to me. I've lived with this man for 4 years, and we've seen each other through the ups and downs and the ins and outs. And I was like, why did I not just take a screenshot and be like, yo, is this you? Because they didn't even know for a fact that it was him. Right. They were like, oh, a guy with tattoos. And then they like tied it to him, and I was like, well, if that's your shit and you messed up, you got to deal with that. Period. And I don't got nothing on that. But I was the middleman, and instead of like taking a screenshot and sending it to him, be like, is this you even? I didn't do that. So I was scared. I had anxiety and I had fear. I was like, oh man, I'm not moving like a real one like I say I am. I'm not being loyal. I'm not respecting my, friendship. Right. And the other people are my friend too, but I don't live with them. I don't know how they move. I know how this man moves. Yeah. So it was a really bad look on my character in my own eyes. Not that I cared about what anyone else thought. I was judging myself, and that was ego, but also the ego in the good way, where it's like, I'm holding myself up to a higher standard of friendship. I could have just cleaned my eyes, covered my eyes and like cleaned my slate and been like, that's your business, not mine. But then I made it my business again, and I called him and I was like, I just want to let you know, like, I took accountability. I'm sorry I did this. Yes. I'm sorry I sent these people your way, and that, nothing happened, but, what if something did happen, and it was drama or something. Yeah. And so he was like texting me back. He's like, dude, that wasn't even me, but like, or he like on the phone, he's like, that wasn't even me, but good looks, like, I appreciate you even like apologizing. Yeah. Because one, I was scared, and I was also scared of the confrontation, and I still did it anyway. And I think that's a really important thing I want to cover right now, is being scared but doing it anyway. Yes. And another quote, I say so many quotes on a day-to-day basis.
Go ahead, say it.
Another quote
I love the quote.
I love is, do whatever scares you, because that's when you grow. I live by that. Do whatever the hell scares you, because obviously what you're doing right now isn't working. If you don't have what you want, if you have the perfect life, keep doing whatever you want. Yeah. If you're happy and content with yourself, keep doing what you want. If you want more, you might have to switch something up.
Yeah. You got to switch something up, because you know what? Just being in the uncomfortable most parts of you is where the most growth comes from. And it's uncomfortable. It's fearful to get into the uncomfortableness. It's fearful to not know the unknown, and that's where the best experiences happen, honestly. And if you just overcome that fear and just jump right into it, just dive into it, at least you know that the universe guided you into something that you've never experienced before. And you know what? Hey, if it doesn't work out, at least you did it. At least you tried. At least you jumped into it. 90% of people don't.
That's the crazy part.
They just don't.
That's the crazy part.
They just don't do it.
People will tell you all the time, like, don't get into this business because it's oversaturated. Oh, God. Don't get into that business because there's so many people already doing it, and you're not going to make that much money off of it or whatever. And those people are haters, and those people aren't minding their business. If you're passionate about something, you want to learn a new trade, get into a business. It's your business. But people just like cast those insecurities.
They sure do.
People will tell me all the time. They're like, "You're doing too much. God. You're doing too much. You need to calm down. You need to slow down." I'm like, "You're not doing enough." I'm doing perfectly fine. If I get burnt out, that's my own business, and that's when I get burnt out. I acknowledge I'm burnt out and I take it off my plate. But I'm not going to be scared of the burnout before it happens.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And sometimes it's important. You have to, what's the word? Prioritize your rest, prioritize yourself. But sometimes you got to go 100 miles an hour, in your life.
You do.
Not driving a car, but in your life.
And it was just like I was saying on social media the other day, let them hate. And you just being awareness of your own being and aware of your own fears and how to overcome fears, you have an understanding that, okay, human beings are in a fear-based mentality, a majority of us. And there's an acceptance and an understanding of awareness in that. So it's just like, let them hate. I can't even tell you
the amount of haters
how many people I work around me that love me but hate to love me, or love to hate me. I'm sorry. They love me but love to hate me too. And it's just like, I have that understanding that, okay, this is the type of human behavior and the mentality and the awareness that people have unhealed traumas. They're, still growing into the higher version of themselves. So I do have an awareness level and an understanding, like, okay, I see what I'm dealing with. So when when I have that firm understanding and awareness, I'm always able to forgive to a certain extent and keep it moving, because there's a purpose and a mission within me. And so if you're going to hate, that's only going to create me, more what energy, higher. I'm just
haters
inspired.
Are your motivators. Haters
Period.
To not be corny, that's a real thing.
Hate.
It's like, use that hate, and instead of being shy and shutting off from the world, you got to be motivated. And I think that's one thing that I'm learning on my journey also is not being a hater.
Yeah.
Is loving the people around me unconditionally for exactly who they are. There's a situation in my past where I feel like shit.
Who they are.
For exactly who they are.
Yeah.
I feel like shit about this because when I was a little younger, obviously I was a rowdy kid and I was rude and I uncouth and just like a real like mess, really. And I was driving my little baby brother to school, and he was in elementary, I think, or middle school, I think 6th grade. And because I was scared, because middle school literally was the worst time of my entire life. Now looking back, middle school was terrible, high school was bad, but middle school was actually the worst. Because in the beginning, I started off as a really cool kid, and a really sweet kid, smart kid. Yes. Focused on doing what I like to do, and that's when the bullies, start coming into play, and people beat yourself out of you. And by 8th grade, I was like this little chola wannabe, and I had like, my side from my upbringing and stuff, but had that not been a little bit pushed, I probably wouldn't have, even in 8th grade, I'm over here talking about, oh my God, you shouldn't smoke weed, like blah, blah. And by 9th grade, there I am smoking weed and drinking and stuff. So it's just like, to me, that's a pivotal moment in my life because it fucking sucked. Yeah. And so when I was driving my brother to school that day, we're 8 years apart, and he was wearing a jacket that was like plaid and shorts that were like flannel, or a jacket that was flannel, shorts. It was just not the look, okay?
Got you.
And I, on a cold ass day, had him take off his jacket because he didn't match, and he was cold that day. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, to this day, I'm pissed about that.
Because you were afraid of what
that
other
people would bully him. And I wanted to protect him from that. And instead, and he doesn't hold that against me, thank God. Yeah. But that's a moment where I just wish I could go back and hold him like a little baby and be like, I'm so fucking sorry. Yeah. Because I made you think that you should give a fuck, and you shouldn't. And I should have been protecting you from the cold. I should have been protecting him from being fucking cold and not from these stupid little kids that are mean, And I really wish, if I had a time machine, that's probably the moment I would go back to and change, because it really fucked me up. Like, I'm over here carrying so much fear-based, projecting my fear into my brothers. Don't act like this. Don't do that. Don't do that. So recently, like, I went out with one of my brothers, and it was a one-on-one. That's the first time we've ever done a one-on-one thing, just the two of us, and gone out the city, like, or out the, the town. And I was like, you know what? Whatever he does today, I'm fully supporting it. You know, 100,000%. From now on out, all of them. This is a different brother, but all of them, they just have my 100% support and love. And, he was getting a little rowdy. Like, we went to a baseball game, and he's getting a little, talking his shit, entertaining people around him. And though I wanted to tell him, like, dude, shut up. Yeah. Shut up. I know don't interact with these people that are just talking out of their neck. Literally, don't talk to them. Because that's what I do for my job. It's my job to shut people down. And as a bartender, you know, you get rowdy people all the time.
Yeah.
And he was just like egging it on. But you know what I did? I just sat there and I let him talk his shit. Literally, I let him talk his shit. And to the guys over here trying to talk to me, I was like, bro, I'm watching a game. Can you look the other way? I'm telling him. But what my brother does is none of my business. If he was trying to do something that was unhealthy for him, like if he was actually trying to fight or something, I would have intervened.
Yeah.
But nothing serious was happening. He wasn't doing any drugs, wasn't drinking, you know, like, because I'm not cool with my brothers drinking either. They're underage. Yeah. I'm not cool with that because I know my background with alcohol. So they know around me they're not going to even touch that stuff. If they had been, I would intervene. But what they wear, what they're interested in, how they like to have fun is none of my business. Yeah. And I can't be scared. I come from a Disney family. Okay. And a lot of people hate on Disney people. You know, like the Disney adults. Like there's a bunch of people out there that will really like bully those people. Oh, that's so lame. Why are you wearing this? Why are you doing that? Why do you worship a mouse? Like all this stuff. That's what they like to do. Disneyland is fun, you know, for some people. Might not be fun for everybody. It's fun for some people. There's not one right way to have fun, you know. We might be interested, you know, in spirituality and stuff like that, and somebody might not understand it, but that doesn't mean it's any less cool or that there isn't any as much as like enjoyment in it. Yeah. So I feel like it's important to remove your fear and stop projecting your fear as well.
Of like, oh, you're not doing this right or anything like that, you know, because it's like, you know, meeting people at the level, understanding at the level where people are, you know. And so that's that not give a fuck attitude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's whatever. It's people just being, and you're just being. And so, shoot, with that being said, I mean, what's something that we can leave with the audience to just let them know? Keep it going. Move past your fears.
Be yourself in every way, shape, and form. Wear what you want to wear. Act the way you want to act in love. In love. Don't act the way you want to act because it's sloppy. Act the way you want to act because that's what makes you feel like a good person. And even if you feel like other people aren't, you know, matching your criteria, your societal norms, whatever, acceptance. And if people let you down, you know, just pick yourself up and move on.
Pick yourself up, move on. Because the journey is the journey, right? And you're just trying to get to the highest version of yourself in love, abundance, and joy. And you want to keep continuing to live in that frequency, that love frequency, that joy frequency, that positivity frequency. Like, don't be afraid to be the positive one in the room. You know how much I'd be like, Jai, just calm down. Like, what? I can't help it. I shine like the sun. Like, come on. Like, are you trying to dim my light right now? Like, that's how I be living.
Are you being a hater?
Are you being a hater? And, you know, even along in my journey, I've been a hater too. Me too. So we need to just move out of that mentality of being a hater, because all is self, all is love, all is joy. And at that, I'm just going to say, hey, I'm Jai, always staying fly.
And I'm Tatiana, and this was Pretty Girls Don't Speak.
Pretty Girls Don't Speak.
Thank you guys very much for tuning in and watching us.
Yes.
Please just continue, you know, finding your healing, trusting yourself, trusting God, the universe, whatever it may be, and move in love and move in light.
And move past that fear. You are not a fearful being up in here, okay? Like, move past it and move into your self-worth, into your self-love. Yeah. So, with that being said, much love to each and every one of you beings. Of course, if you have any questions, just drop it. We'll get back to you. Much love. Peace.